All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Savory Moore is not here, so I'm the vice chair. I'll be the acting chair tonight. So I want to call this meeting together. It's Carver Conservation Commission meeting. It's February 5th, 2025. It's 7 o'clock. This meeting is being cablecast by Area 58 Community Access Media, Channel 15, and will be posted by Area 58 on YouTube as soon as possible. Okay, we have not a real long agenda tonight. We have three things to discuss, and then we're going to go on to two hearings. The three items we're discussing are COCs, which are certificates of compliance from previous permits. So the first one we're going to talk about, and then the minutes, we'll wait for the minutes till after we're done with everything else, so everybody isn't bored with all that kind of stuff. Okay, so the first discussion is it's the Carver to Kingston Reliability Project, Eversource Overhead Electric Transmission Wire from Carver Substation to Kingston Substation. It's SE 126629. Is anybody here to talk about that? If you could sign in, please.
Yes. My name is Casey Bardier, environmental scientist with VHB.
Peter Tusco, I'm Senior Environmental Specialist with Eversource. All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you mentioned, tonight's request for a certificate of compliance is for an overhead transmission line, line 147 extension, the Carver to Kingston Reliability Project. This portion of project, the project went to 3 towns. This portion of the project that was in Carver had a structure in the wetland. So this is probably the more in-depth of the 3 municipalities it went through. There was 26 square feet of disturbance within bordering vegetated wetland. And we obtained an order of conditions as well as a Section 401 water quality certificate for the disturbance within wetlands. And we have completed that wetland restoration area in the same wetland. The mitigation was 1-to-1, and that was really the large component, would be the mitigation for the wetland disturbance. There was one deviation in the plan set from the proposed to the as-built, and that was structure number 18. So that's going to show up differently on the as-built that we provided. However, that change in structure location was approved administratively on January 25th, 2023 by Gary Flaherty. We did provide a request that we would be shifting the structure 30 feet south due to complications, just the location. It didn't affect any sort of impact to wetlands, but that it was a deviation I did want to note for the commission tonight.
Okay. Emil, do you have any?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for coming in, talking to us about it tonight. I went out there and walked all the power lines pretty much that I could walk. And I saw the replication area. It's, kind of unrecognizable that there was really any disturbance in that area, which was good. So I didn't see any issues with it. I think you guys did a great job according to the plans that were laid out for us. And it's a big important project, and so my recommendation is to approve the COC. Again, very minor impacts in the wetlands, and I think they did a good job restoring it.
Okay.
Can we just take a look at that?
Sure. So these are the as-built plans, if you want to take a look at
I just want to see the building.
so if you look on one of the pages, you could see the structures are numbered. They're kind of like little dots on there. And the structure that they're talking about moving is structure number 18. So if you want to look at that.
18's over here. So what were those structures they moved? Sorry, I wasn't.
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. Structure number 13 would be the structure that was located within wetland number 6, disturbance of 26 square feet, which we replicated that 26 square feet in the same wetland, kind of close to where the wetland edge abuts Plymouth Street.
Gotcha.
And structure number 18 would be the one that shows a deviation. There should be 2 different dots for structure number 18, and I apologize, I don't remember the color coding from the legend, but it should.
have it.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
we got it,
Blue, I
yeah,
think, is
yeah.
the new ones.
Oh, yeah, there.
Blue's new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blue's new and red would be what we proposed. So the
Okay.
blue would be where it actually is.
So there are two dots there, right? Right? Is that correct? On 18, is that right? Are there 2 structures, or is there?
There's 2 posts, right, in
Yeah.
each location?
Oh, it's all there as
Yeah.
posts?
Yeah, I
okay,
apologize.
okay.
So by structure,
Yeah.
on this right-of-way, we actually had several different ones for the project, so I
Okay.
apologize it was not more descriptive. Some of the structures would be 2 posts, make kind of an H, it's called an H-frame structure.
Right.
And then sometimes we have a steel monopole, which is just one.
Okay, so that's the 2 is for?
Yes,
Gotcha, gotcha.
exactly.
Yeah, got it. All right.
We appreciate you taking the time to, protect our wetlands and, keep our utilities updated as well. I know it's not easy.
Thank you.
Good.
Yep. Any other questions? Really? All right. So I guess we go directly to vote on this one, right? We don't have to close this because it's not a hearing, right? So here, a motion to vote on this.
So moved?
Second.
Okay, so,
To vote to approve?
well, yeah, so,
Approve the COC.
yeah, so let's.
So approved, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay, just
does
making
that-
sure.
We don't have to have a motion to vote then, right, on this thing? Right.
Someone should make a motion to approve the COC.
Yeah, so,
I make a motion to approve the
Okay.
COC.
Second it.
all right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that is approved 3-0.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much. Yes. Okay, so the second one is a SE 126-635, a COC request for 316 Tremont Street, that is Timeless Stoneworks. Anybody here for that one?
Yeah, I don't think they're here from Green Seal Environmental. They're the ones who requested the COC on behalf of Timeless Stoneworks. Ann and I were out there earlier today. The project was a industrial steel panel building adjacent to the existing storage building that they have on site. It looked pretty straightforward to us. The project was amended to push the building just outside of the 65-foot buffer zone. There's a existing gravel kind of driveway that runs around the building. The property's all fenced in. The project's been completed with minor disturbance.
They did everything they were asked to do, right? Okay. Okay, so, motion to
Approve the COC.
approve the COC for SC 126-635.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 3-0. Okay. So the next COC is COC 126-582. It's Spring Street and Ricketts Pond Drive. It's Ricketts Pond Definitive Subdivision.
Good evening, my name is Eric Shoemaker. I'm representing McKenzie Engineering Group and our applicant RPBP LLC. I have a board I can set up if you guys would like to look at the plans. But we're requesting a COC for Ricketts Pond Drive subdivision in Carver. It's comprised of 7 lots and a Form A lot out front. It's located in the Water Resource Protection District, the Spring Street Innovation Zoning District, and bordered by Ricketts Pond to the east, Route 44 to the northwest, and some undeveloped woodlands to the north, Spring Street to the south. The definitive subdivision was first approved by the Carver Planning Board in April of 2019, and the original notice of intent filing for that definitive subdivision was filed concurrently with the Carver Conservation Commission. We received an order of conditions May 29th, 2019 for construction of a portion of the infiltration basin and within the 100-foot buffer zone. So the topography generally for the subdivision slopes towards Ricketts Pond. We've been developing these individual lots with the Carver Planning Board, requesting, notice of intents for work within the 100-foot buffer zone as needed, and things have been going well on the site. As you can see on the COC request letter, the stormwater management system and subdivision roadway were constructed in substantial compliance with the approved order of conditions, and we note a couple deviations on there. The flared end section with riprap spillway and that associated sediment forebay, it's located in the northeastern portion of infiltration basin number 1. It's the basin to the right as you're driving in. That has not yet been constructed. That's because the outlet pipes associated with that running across lots 3 and 4 still need to be built, and we need to finish up construction of those lots. The other deviation was just a deviation from the erosion and sediment control plan originally filed for that subdivision. The temporary sedimentation basin on that plan was just moved slightly based on the topography and what we saw on the site. So that temporary sedimentation basin, you can see it in the field. It exists directly north of that first infiltration basin. Basin number 1 to the right side that I mentioned earlier. Lots 1, Lot 2B, and Lot 4 are currently under construction. We've been monitoring those sites and working with the developers on as-builts and septic system designs with the Board of Health. The Form A lot out front and Lot 2 have been completely completed and are approved. So the other thing to note here is during the individual lot development with the planning board, we've been rerunning the stormwater calculations for all of the lots, rechecking the recharge, water quality, sediment forebays, making adjustments as needed. So we're keeping track of all of that closely with the town and their peer review agent. So that's a quick summary of our request. I can answer any questions the commission may have.
All right, thank you. So what's your synopsis there? Let me know.
Well, I would just say that, this, obviously it's a subdivision for a business park. This part of the order of conditions is simply for the location of the stormwater basin. That's really the only work that's, as well as just the location of the lot lines and the road on the property. The road is outside of our jurisdiction, so it's essentially the only part of this that's in the buffer zone to the wetlands is the, the infiltration basin, stormwater infiltration basin that's been completed. We were out there today. It looked, completely according to the plan. They mentioned a few minor deviations, but I think, in the scope of this project, it's nothing that is a major change.
So I was out there, and we met Greg out there, right? Yeah, and so it's pretty deep, and so we could see the water line where the water is, increasing when we get rain, and it was really, I asked him about last spring, which we had very high water levels last spring, because they also have an emergency overflow, but it's never even come close to the emergency overflow. I mean, not close at all, even last spring. So I didn't have concerns with that.
Any questions? No? All right, so we have a motion to approve the, it's mostly just the drainage basin, really, right? COC for the drainage easement for SC 126582.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Okay.
Thank you.
That passes 3. Thank you very much. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the hearings. So the first hearing we have here is DEP file SE 126686. It's for Fuller Street lots 0, 15, 16, 17, 19, 21, 25, and 27. Abbreviated notice of resource area delineation. Notice is hereby given in accordance with Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protections Bylaw, that a public hearing will be held at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, February 5th, in meeting room number 1 at Carver Town Hall to hear the abbreviated notice of resource area delineation submitted by Hickory Hill Development, Inc., who is requested under the ANRAD confirmation of buffer zone bordering wetlands, waterfront area, inland bank, and land under water bodies and waterways on the property. The project is located at 0, 15, 16, 17, 19, 21, 25, and 27 Fuller Street, Carver, Massachusetts. Assessor map number 49, lots 4-6, 4-5, 4-4, 4-3, 4-2, 4-1, 4-A. All interested parties are invited to attend. Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Edward Jacobs, PMP Consulting, Inc. And I'm here for a ANRAD for property on Fuller Street. I'm representing Hickory Hill Development. I have a board. Where should I set that up? Right over there?
Oh, or here. It's either way.
Either way.
Either way would work.
It's
yeah.
good.
Good. As you know, my client would like to put some Form A lots on Fuller Street, and as part of the A&R process through the planning board, you know, we have to supply an ANRAD first. So this dark blue line that I just kind of sketched in, that's the edge of the cranberry bogs as we located them in the field. Field crew went out there, tied into some monuments out on the street and out on the property, and then located the top of the cranberry bog bank with a total station. And then the other lines, you know, the red, the green, and the blue, that's your associated 50, 65, and 100-foot buffers. I do have some Form A lots kind of screened underneath just to show where they may be. They're not etched in stone, but there'll be 6 lots. There'll be 2 over here, and then there'll be 4 from there to there. This area over here will have to be touched.
Okay. So, what you guys are out there? What do you think?
Yeah, so we were at the site today, myself and Ann. We're kind of running on a light commission this week. Everyone's been sick and everything going on. You know, so we were familiar with the site. We had been out there for when you guys took it out of Chapter 61A to get ready for this project. So, you know, we're kind of expecting this to be coming along the pipeline. Obviously, the cranberry bogs there are wetlands, so we assume this would be kind of a, you know, a little bit of a tight area to be working in. But the only question I had after being out there is there's a cranberry bog channel that kind of runs through this whole system, and there's some wetlands to the north of this site, and there's also wetlands to the south of that site, and I feel like there's a connection within, you know, all of that. The water seems to be flowing from the south side of Fuller Street into that property.
Yep.
And so, you know, my only question would be for a wetland scientist to determine, you know, is that a stream? Because to me it seems like that's a very important hydrologic connection between those wetlands. So I would like to see a little bit more, you know, research into whether or not that is consisting of a perennial stream. You know, I think it's not really going to have a huge impact on the lots that maybe that proposed lot 2 that's shown on here would fall within the riverfront area of that. You know, I think even the proposed lot 3 would probably be outside of that due to the size of the area. But I think, you know, that's important that we have that on there for this, you know, as we confirm the resource areas.
Okay. That crossing you're talking about is right here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right here. Yeah, that way there. So we can certainly have our botanists check that out.
One of the questions I had when we went out there is that I noticed the septics are being put in the back. Do you know how far away they are exactly?
We have a plan that we show all of the proposed wells, the wells across the street that, you know, we could identify, and the septic systems with all the radii on them. And that's why some of the septics had to go out back, because the wells are up front.
Yeah, I figured that.
Yeah.
I don't think we got those. I didn't see that in our materials, do we?
Yeah, well, currently they haven't proposed any projects.
Right,
so
this
they're
is
not
just for the
proposing-
You haven't-
ANRAD
you-
process, yeah.
You have it, but you're not at the
Yeah,
point
that'll
yet.
come with Concom, when we come in for the individual NOIs for the lots.
Okay, yeah. They just seem, I didn't measure, but they seem pretty close to the wetland, which makes me a little nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, we made sure we stayed outside of all the buffer zones to the wetlands and the well radii with those. We actually staked out the test pit locations so that we could dig in the right spot and not be in violation of any wetlands buffers.
Okay. Can you speak to me a little bit about how you're dealing with, so you have the 60,000 square feet requirement, right, for
Yes.
Carver? And so you're using active cranberry bogs to get to that 60,000 feet. How
Yes.
does that work? Are the people who buy the home, are they, that land isn't coming out of 61A, is it?
No, there'll be an
Okay,
easement.
so-
It'll be an easement so that the cranberry owners can work the bog.
So do the owners own that and they give easement to the bog owner who's
Yes,
just, that has an easement on that small section of each lot?
correct.
And have you worked out with Carver how that affects like taxes or anything? I'm just curious.
No, we're not even at that stage. We're just hoping to get through the ANRAD process and take it from there.
Yeah.
So there's a bog road that runs in those lots, lot 3, 4, and 5. Will that remain there, or will that be like rerouted?
Easements to be determined, depending on where these lots end up. We kept Lot 2 outside of this bog road,
Yep.
so that will remain in the bog. That other road over there, we're not really sure. When the lot lines are established, we'll probably have an easement going up one of the lot lines to get to the rear of that, to the properties.
Emil, do you remember that bog road? I don't.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, we kind of walked up to
It was
it. We
frozen.
probably should have parked on that one, but
Right,
yeah.
we walked a ways to get.
Yeah, the easements to the bog company, the bog owners, will include any bog roads going around the lip of the bogs, so that they can drive around, get access, bring their equipment and whatnot.
So you're aware though in Carver, though, that there's no buildings are allowed within 100 feet of the bog,
Yep,
right?
yep.
You know, okay, just so you don't,
Yeah, it
there's no
was,
confusion there.
We've got all those buffers on there.
Right. So you're planning to fit those houses and the septics and everything within, outside the 100-foot
Yes,
buffer?
yes,
Okay.
correct.
All right. Any questions, Chris? So really, what we're approving here is just the ANRAD, meaning that it's just a resource
Yeah,
delineation.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess the one thing, like, we could either approve it as a modified with the riverfront area, or we could ask you guys to come back to our next meeting and give us a little bit more information about that. So I don't know if you feel like you should talk to your client about whether or not that, you know, is going to impact their project, and whether they want to do some more research on that, or?
Yeah, well, we would have to do some research along with the botanist to see, whether that was an intermittent stream or perennial stream before these bogs were built.
Yeah.
I kind of doubt it, because when we did the perks out there and we look at the quad maps, the older quad maps, this was actually a huge hill where these
Yeah,
bogs
so we
are.
looked at one of those maps just before we, Dave and myself, before this meeting, and so the hill was like in the middle.
Yep,
But right down at the bottom there where the water crosses over, there was a, wetland bog shown on there. And there is a, channel that goes under the road. And then the wetland bog wraps around to the, I guess it would be the south side of the bog.
Yep.
And then it goes up to where there are still existing, natural wetlands. So to me, I think, there is some hydrological connection through there. I mean, obviously that it's been manipulated and engineered over the past. But, I just want to make sure, whatever, since we're here and we're confirming the wetland boundaries, this is the time for us to, look into
Agreed.
that and make sure.
Yeah.
So, I'd recommend requesting a continuance and just taking, another, little bit of a look at that.
Okay,
And
let's
we'll
do
come
that.
back at the next
Yeah,
one.
let's do
Our
that.
next meeting's on the 19th.
okay.
So if you think you can do that in time for that and just provide us a little bit more information in between then,
Sure.
we can continue you guys to the 19th.
All right, let's do that. That sounds good.
Great.
So is there any people in the audience that want to speak to this, or anybody here for that? Nobody?
Maybe the next one,
Okay.
Party Street.
So,
We do have concerns about our well water out in that area. We are on the opposite side of the road on Fuller Street. We're on high ground. And like you were stating, that water does come from across the street, and it fills that bog area where they're actually currently dredging out the main area. By putting those houses in there, I have concern with my well because I have a jet pump. I don't have a deep well, Venetian well like most of these people. So you put 6 houses across the street, and you guys are playing with the water. Every time it opens up, the Fuller Street pond gets emptied out. And then I don't know where the water's going. They're not pumping it back when they're flooding the bogs. So I have concerns as well as you do when it comes to the water in that area.
The retention pond, they completely dug out.
If
They
they dredged
drained it, they just dredged it. and it was
Is
all
this
that
on
side.
this property or across the street?
No, it's that
It's on
property.
that property.
Okay, got it.
So that's where, and the water's coming across, so when they filled their bogs up in the fall, it emptied across the street completely. I mean, and just decimated it. So, and we were already real low then. So, it's a concern for the neighbors. One of our neighbors that isn't here right now, they're on vacation, but it's the same concern.
And do you know when the water area on your side of the street emptied out? You know how there's a wetland even
Yeah.
behind that? Did it also go lower
Behind us went real low too.
behind you? Okay,
Yeah,
so that,
we're right on the hill right there, so we got the wetlands below, behind us,
right.
and then we have
Where are you?
that whole
So,
section.
yeah,
so
that-
we should probably have you sign, if you're going to talk.
You should just come
yeah,
up and sign in. Just-
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, sorry about that, yeah. Yeah,
So, I'm here at 14. This is a high hill here. You guys have been dredging all of this out, but the water comes from across here and comes into here, and you guys are dumping the water back off the property back this way. So, I mean, that's my biggest concern is, are you guys, are they gonna pay to put, Venetian wells in for all of us that are gonna go down 120 feet?
Would you mind just writing your name on the sign-in
yeah,
sheet
just
there?
this is for record, so we have it as record. What is your name, by the way? Sorry.
Tom Gallagher?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Tom. So yeah, that was one of our concerns, so.
No,
Yes.
I'm glad you brought it up.
So as you probably understand at this point, this is not a permit application for houses, septics, anything construction-wise at this point. They're just here to, determine where the wetlands are on the property. They will have to come back and get permits for any construction that's within any of these buffers.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I would just like to add that, the person who owns the property out front for these cranberry bogs is not the owner of the cranberry bogs, right? They sold those lots off, so what they do with the bog, and if they dredge it, or if they draw in water from another pond, that has nothing to do with my client trying to build 6 lots out front. He doesn't own the cranberry bogs.
Sorry, can you clarify that again? Are you saying people that are building houses don't own the bog?
Correct.
He sold them off.
Okay.
But they own parts of the bog, right? Obviously.
They're gonna own part of the bog, but they're not gonna work the bog.
Right.
They'll have no say in the operations of the cranberry bogs.
I don't understand how this, I don't know how zoning approved that, but whatever. So-
Yeah, I mean, that's the part.
What's a little confusing, what?
Yeah, who are the two owners?
Who are the two owners?
Well, what do you mean, who are the?
Of the bogs,
Know who owns the bogs?
the bogs is ADGA,
I'm sorry?
ADGA, and the property is, out front is owned by Hickory Hill Development.
Okay, so how can you guys determine the lines of the lots now if you guys are working together?
Well, they're working
They
together.
were established previously.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments from the audience? Anybody want to say anything? We're gonna continue this meeting, so we'll be next week we'll be discussing it too. But again, this is just to determine where the wetlands boundaries are at this point, right? So it's not whether or not they're going to build any houses right here. And if you ask me, it is a little confusing the way they did this before. The zoning has allowed them to own a portion of the bog so they can comply with this 60,000 square foot lot size, but it's a little unusual, so I don't know how that's going to work. We should,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the bylaw states that if you have 70% of the lot uplands, it's a buildable lot. So as long as we keep 70% of the 60,000 square feet, which is 42,000 square feet uplands, then it meets the zoning bylaw.
70%.
Yeah.
So if it is within, though, a wetlands buffer, is that considered uplands or
Yeah, it's just the wetlands. It doesn't take into consideration the buffers.
the buffer zones?
Yeah.
Okay. I got you. All right. All right, so what's the motion? Oh, yeah. You want to sign in? You just make it official. Yeah. And state your name, please. Thank
Patrick
you.
Hannon. On the lower left side here, I'll sign that in a second. Your bog road comes in here, your bog pond is here, that's not considered part of the wetland, so that line shouldn't move beyond that.
That bog pond, no.
Because that's right on the back of Split's lot 1 and lot 2.
Yeah, I'll check that.
Yeah, so typically, if it's a man-made bog pond like that, a very small one, it would be considered.
Now than it was.
Yeah, we didn't actually go and look at that specific pond today, but I think typically a small bog pond like that that's clearly man-made is not considered a wetland under the State Protection Act because it's a man-made pond in an upland area. But, you know, it would be worthwhile just checking while you're out there looking at the river that also wasn't there, you know, back in the 70s or whenever those USGS maps were written up.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything to say about this one?
So I'll just add, like, I'm the newest person on the commission, but this is only the second time I've seen this kind of, proposal come forward, and it's confusing to me as well. And I've lived here 35 years, so I don't know what all the answers are, but it might be good if we could talk to zoning about it. Because all of this could impact all of our wells if this goes on. So I encourage you to keep coming to these meetings and sharing your feedback with us.
All right. Anybody else? Okay, so we have to vote on continuance?
Yeah, I would say entertain a motion to continue it to the next meeting, February 19th.
Okay, yeah, so a motion to continue until February 19th?
So,
Second, okay. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye. All right. So
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So this is continued till February, did you say 19th?
19th.
Okay. So the next hearing is on 96 Purchase Street. It's a notice of intent, file SE 126-685. Notice is hereby given in accordance with Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, in the Carver Wetlands Protections Bylaw, that a public hearing will be held at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, February 5th, in meeting room number 1 at the Carver Town Hall to hear the notice of intent submitted by Renewable Energy Development Partners, LLC, to construct a dual-use agriculture-solar array on an existing cranberry bog, install underground electrical conduit and utility poles, and plant supplemental landscaping to screen the project within the 100-foot buffer to the bordering vegetated wetlands and inland bank. This project is at 96 Purchase Street, 0 Lee Way, 0 Rear Fosdick Road, Carver, Massachusetts. Assessors map 57, lot 2-A and 58, and lot 2-0. All interested parties are invited to attend. All right.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the Commission. For the record, my name is Sarah Stearns with Beals & Thomas, and with me are representatives from Renewable Energy Development Partners, Hank Grimet and Tom Mellahan. As the chairman read into the record, this is a proposed dual-use solar array on existing upland cranberry bogs. And I'm just going to have Tom point to stuff as we chat about it. Just to orient everybody, Purchase Street to the north of the project and Fosdick Road kind of to the southern border of this property. Some of you may remember it from the ANRAD process that was filed a year or two ago now at this point. An ORAD was issued determining some of the wetland versus upland features on the site, and then further amended to include some additional area for the purpose of project planning. So that ORAD has been helpful in laying out this solar array. The landowner, in conjunction with the applicant, have come up with this plan that they think will work for the cranberry operations. So, as you know, dual use, also annotated as ASTGU under the SMART program, is a combination of continued agricultural operations and renewable energy. So this is an array proposed with additional spacing between the panels and added height for continued operation beneath in the bogs. Similar to the other site that we looked at with this applicant, Swan Holt Solar, where we could see the panels articulating, kind of following the sun throughout the day. So just a couple of items about the size and location. As I said, these two bogs are upland bogs, so constructed out of upland and sort of forced into a hydrologic regime to grow cranberries. The array itself is about 22 acres total, and again, that's with that additional spacing between the rows for that continued operations. This will also go through site plan review and special permit review with the planning board. We have not been to them yet. This is our first stop. I believe we're scheduled in a couple weeks to discuss it with that board as well. I didn't see any substantive comments from DEP when issued the file number. And I think just to kind of reiterate, the reason for the notice of intent is that, you know, despite the project proposed in upland bogs, as many of these properties do, have additional resource areas surrounding them. So there is some work proposed in a couple areas of the site. Maybe if you want to just turn that over, just flip to the back side of the board, please, Tom. There is some work proposed in this area. I know this is hard to see on the paper, but I can come up and show you my highlighted version. The two resource areas sort of to the closest to Purchase Street, maybe Tom, the shaded areas, you can point out the pond and the bog up there. A bog, yep. So that we've added the 65 and 100-foot buffer zone. So there is some work proposed within the existing bog roads adjacent to those resource areas for the underground conduit. And in a couple of those spaces, there's some proposed landscape screening. So planting and underground work within the bog road. In the plan packet, there is a landscape plan too that goes into more detail about what's proposed in that 65-foot. So due to that, we are asking for a variance for that work as well. I'll pause there and open it up for questions. And, you know, if the three of us can't answer it, we'll get back to you. Thank you.
So I have a question. I was out with Emil today and looked at these, and you're stating they're upland bogs. Did you ever do borehole testing to show that, or was that just done through aerial images or
Yeah,
something?
we did not for this property. Just it's been the same landowner for several generations, so they built all of these. And so talking with the landowner and looking at historic USGS mapping and aerial photos, we, in our ANRAD applications, pieced together kind of the history here. It was pretty clear for most of it, which bogs were constructed out of upland versus what were sort of naturally occurring wetland areas.
Okay.
So you're requesting the variance in the area just for plantings mostly? Is that what it is?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it will be, we're anticipating that that will be required as part of the planning board review. So it's not necessarily related to this application that we're adding plantings in these areas. It's really for visual screening purposes.
Right.
Just to be clear, though, also
Yeah.
associated with, so the solar array itself is within the upland bogs, but the extension cord that plugs it into the circuit out on Purchase Street runs from the bogs underground up to Purchase Street. And that electrical conduit will be within the footprint of the existing road. And that road, some of that road is within the 65-foot
Right.
buffer to this wetland and
Right.
to this pond.
Right.
So
So you're just gonna dig the road up,
we're
basically?
gonna dig a trench in the middle of the road, put
Right.
the conduit in and backfill it.
Right. And then plant trees along the road?
That tree, there's a
Over.
landscape drawing. on what-
I have, yeah.
There's some trees up along Purchase Street, and there's some trees, there's a earthen dike that separates this water body from this bog. And that earthen dike is a good place to plant trees because of its topography. And that dike itself also lies within 65 feet of this pond.
And then the lower area
Oh,
on
right.
Fosdick.
We don't zoom out far enough, but there's some additional planting we're proposing along
have it.
Fosdick Road.
Yeah, that, we have it on ours
We have
here.
it, yeah.
And that also is within 65 feet of that cranberry bog down there.
It's 65 foot of this cranberry bog.
Right.
Yes.
And that one, that bog closest to Fosdick is a wetland bog.
Okay.
So that's why we wanted to just call that out.
So currently, what's in the area adjacent to the new solar field that you're gonna plant? What is that road between the, yeah?
Is
that-
there?
No.
This? Or-
I'll show you. Right here. This area right here, where you got plant trees.
It's just I think there's some photos in the thing, it's just an earthen berm that separates.
There's nothing on it, there's no vegetation on it. You're not gonna modify it much, or?
And there's some scrubby vegetation, but
Yeah.
not, I mean, we're gonna improve the vegetation for the benefit of the abutters.
And same with the other places, it's not really, you're not
Fos-
modifying the earth much. right?
Fosdick, no, we're not
Yeah.
doing any site work.
Yeah, right.
Just supplementing the existing vegetation. Fosdick Road has a line of evergreen trees,
Right.
but they're probably more spaced out a little further apart than the planning board would like to see from a screening standpoint. So we'll just plant between the gaps.
Are these all gonna be evergreens, or they're gonna be mixed vegetation?
Well, the landscape architect usually plants, picks native, like, cedars and spruces, and probably some forsythia and some, flowering bushes sprinkled in there.
Okay.
The plan right now shows trees. And you can see on the plant schedule on that
The
sheet
second
L2.
page shows
Oh,
the
okay.
trees.
Yeah.
That's good, yeah.
I mean,
Oh, I got you.
yeah, that's the proposed
Okay.
layout. So really just, like we said, for perspective screening, additional screening just to enhance what's there from the road.
Right.
So for the place that you're going in the buffer zone next to the pond, you're planting trees, you're saying, to basically help the dike or help reinforce the,
No, so there's some line of sight from Purchase Street,
okay.
like around here, and
So it's really for screening, it's not,
Correct.
it's nothing to do with the dike or anything?
Yes, ma'am.
Right,
That's
okay,
correct.
gotcha.
What's this, on our diagram, we have this line here with the gradations of 34 plus 0. What's that? Is
What's
that
the sheet number?
oh, that's just, I think that's the distance
from?
from the viewer, so.
Oh, I got you, from the view here, I got you. Oh, how many feet away? I got you.
Yes, if you see, if you look on the aerial photo below that, you'll see that line cutting through it, and that matches to that
Yeah, line of sight.
cross-section.
It's a huge property, so just
Right,
trying to
got you,
give some.
got you.
Yeah,
Just trying to
hundreds
figure
of
out what that was.
acres
All right,
overall.
right. I got you.
There are some photos in the notice of intent package too. I know you got to see it in person,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just for those that haven't been out there. And you can see, the layers of vegetation, particularly from Fosdick, just to give you a sense of that. But I think just kind of filling in some holes is our proposal anyway.
Is there an equipment pad for this project? Okay, it's over there. So will all the panels connect to that, and then it will run from there to the road?
Correct,
Okay.
correct, and this is out of any resource area or
Yep.
buffer. It's in a disturbed upland area.
And it's just equipment pad,
It's just
no batteries.
no battery storage, just electric equipment on concrete housekeeping pads.
Got it. Are you guys gonna be requesting a continuance in order to get your planning board approval?
I don't, if there aren't any additional, if there isn't an additional information needed, then we would be amenable to closing, but,
Okay.
it depends on,
Yeah. Yeah.
what happens tonight. I think we're either way.
Okay, got it.
Or, I mean, in the past,
sure.
if the planning board has asked us to do something that we didn't anticipate in our notice of intent filing, and we've already received our order of conditions, I think we just come back to ask to modify it.
And I'm leaning that way as well, just because it may be several weeks or months before that happens.
Okay.
I'm assuming they're gonna send this for peer review, and sometimes that takes quite a while, so.
Yeah.
um,
The one thing I would say is that I was notified by the town assessor today that the taxes on this property have not been paid. And it's a Carver bylaw that we don't issue permits unless the taxes are up to date. And I just think if it's not a rush, we should probably resolve that.
Sounds like a continuance.
Yeah.
Does it have to be, I'm sorry, through the chair,
Yeah.
does the meeting have to be continued? Y'all just don't have to issue the permit though, but. we
Well, they
can
have
go
to
through
issue it within a certain time of closing. the
Yeah,
hearing.
we kind of have to continue it, yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, just to shed some light on that, we met with the Board of Assessors. There's a difference of opinion of what the state law says regarding Chapter 61A.
Right.
These dual-use solar projects. So it's our intent that the land doesn't need to be removed from 61A. That's the whole point of the changes to the statute.
Right.
But that hasn't been resolved at the state level yet. We're in the unfortunate position of being the first ones to try it. So
Got it.
that's the basis of it's not a delinquent landowner not paying his taxes.
Right. Gotcha. All right, are there any comments from the public here? Anybody have anything to say? Nope.
Yeah, I was wondering.
If you want to just state your name and,
State your name.
yeah, come up, please, thank you.
I just was wondering, is this gonna be something that keeps continuing to all the bogs?
What do you mean?
Solar.
Well, there's a whole bunch of other bogs and there's water.
Oh, you mean as far as building solar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
going bigger. And right now, he's looking at 2 lots, but I'm worried that he's gonna go over there and there, like, down the road. And then I just get worried, my house is along Purchase Street,
Right.
and just worried about my well and the mercury and the lead and that stuff if one leaks. it gets into the water system and things like that. And what happens in 30 years? If, you know, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, this stuff has got a lot of chemicals in it. And so, yeah.
Would you
I'm a
mind?
little- What?
Sorry, I was just gonna say, would you mind just signing in on
Yeah.
the piece of paper?
So,
Well, maybe you
Sarah,
guys can
can you
speak
talk
about
to
the
the, the equipment in terms of PFAS and?
Well, how often do they check the panels, like the water underneath? How often do they test those for leakage?
Yeah, all those questions, we have the engineers here to answer, so it's good you're asking them. So let's see what they have to say.
Just to address her first question about other projects on this property, we have a lease to do this and only this.
Just those two?
Just those two. Our understanding is that the bog owner's not interested in doing solar on more of the bog because it's a risk. It's a risk from his farming standpoint, not an environmental risk from his standpoint, but it's an unproven, it's a little bit of unproven farming to farm under the solar. So we wanted to do a smaller project on his site, but we don't have any. He hasn't asked us, and we haven't received approval from him to do anything else but what we're proposing.
I'm a little ignorant to some of these that I'm just wanting to know.
Well, maybe she can give you some information on it.
And as far as like,
So I just want you to know, when we talk about dual use, they're going to continue to farm that bog with the solar on it. So that's the dual part, just so you know.
yeah, just you
they're
get
gonna
nervous. A
yeah.
big storm comes by and even a few panels break, leak, or kids come by and damage your stuff, and you can't change that stuff to come out of the water once it's hard to get back out. So that was my concern. Yeah. That's what this process is for.
Thank you.
I just wanted to mention too that it's kind of beyond the purview of this board maybe, but for our planning board hearing, which is coming up in a couple weeks, they require us to submit all of the sheets with all of the materials that are used for these projects. So we have submitted a packet of materials to the planning board. I believe they posted on the town website everything that we submit. So if you go to the planning board page, you can look through the whole application and look at all of the sheets and all of the materials that are part of this development, if that's helpful to you. And then, you know, we can have a further conversation in that planning board realm as well. I think it's the 25th of February.
Thank you.
Is there a fence? I can't remember. Is there a fence around the existing?
No.
No, okay.
Because it would really hamper
Oh,
the
it would
farming
hamper the
aspect.
farming, yeah.
There is a fence proposed around the equipment pad,
Correct.
which
Okay.
is required by law.
Good.
Yeah,
And these are going to be like the other ones, like 10 feet up or whatever the height
that's
is there.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. I think it's 10-foot minimum.
Right, 10 feet. 10 feet when the panels are, these are similar, I wasn't there, but I believe you folks witnessed the project at the Small Hole Bogs, which are single-axis trackers.
Right.
Will be similar single-axis tracking, and when the panels are at the horizontal position, they'll be 10 feet above the bog surface.
Right.
Okay.
All right, any other comments from the audience there or public? All right, so I guess we're sort of forced to continue this thing under the bylaws, right? I mean, from what I understand.
So yeah, I think it's best just to see if we can resolve that. Do you guys have a date in mind that you would like? Our next meeting's on the 19th. If you don't think it's going to be resolved by then, maybe sometime in March.
March. I think we're looking at March.
Okay.
And that will have gone to the planning board by that point too. So
I think
if
that's-
they've asked for any changes, we can report that back to you. if it's-
Yep.
So, but it might take you a while to resolve this tax issue thing, right?
It's ongoing, so
Yeah.
it may be done by March. I
Okay.
don't really know.
All
If
right.
not, we'll just have to come back and let you know what the status is. I
Yeah, it
guess.
looks like March 5th is our first meeting in March. And then we also have one on the 19th, just like this month.
All right.
Oh, that's unusual.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a preference?
Okay, any other comments? Curtis, anything?
No, good.
You good?
Yeah.
All right, so,
5th, yeah, so we'd continue it to the 5th.
so the
March.
motion to continue this to March 5th?
So moved?
Second.
Okay, all's in favor? Aye.
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 Okay.
Thank
So
you.
Change it to March 5th.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys. And thanks for the public comments, too. Okay. So that sort of finishes our regular order of business, I guess.
Except to do the minutes, I guess.
Yep, so we just do the minutes, so everybody had a chance to look through them. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you,
Everybody.
appreciate your time.
Yeah, so I may have forgotten to send you guys this, and I know Jill has been sick, so I apologize if I didn't send you guys the minutes.
we'll look through them real
Just take
quick
a
We are,
moment
yeah.
to look through them.
Someone forgot their water bottle.
Yeah, somebody left their water there if they want that water.
No, under, yeah, there, Judy has it.
You got the eagle eye.
What's that?
She has the eagle eye for
Yeah.
Thank you.
What are they looking at there? Anticipated. These look fine to me.
Yeah, that just scanned, but look good to me, too. You good?
Good.
So, all those in favor of approving the minutes as they are,
Oh, you have to make a motion, right?
make a motion, right? Yeah, to approve them, sorry.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Yeah, very good.
I second that
Okay.
motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
No worries. Could I just get you guys to sign those COCs?
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna send 3 for 1 down anyway, and then
Right.
we can all be signing at once. Is there 3? Yeah.
Here, I'll give you one. You can pass it back.
That's what I'm saying.
That was pretty good, Dave. 58 minutes.
Well, yeah, I stumbled through that one pretty good.
I think you did a great job.
What's that?
I
My
think
motto is it works if you work it.
we still have to make a motion to close the meeting.
Yeah, we have to close the meeting.
Once we're done doing it.
We're not done yet.
There's one. Did Curtis get this?
There's one more.
There's this. That's done.
Okay.
My name is so long.
I think you signed that one,
Yeah, probably, I'm just checking.
Awesome.
right? Okay. So motion to close the meeting?
Moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's it. Thank you, Area 58.